Hello and welcome to KJ's Kitchen. I am KJ. I am 14 years a master fitness trainer, a fitness nutrition specialist, and most important to me, a happy mom serving up healthy meals from my kitchen to yours. And my very special guest, I could not be more delighted to have my mom here with me.
Hello.
This is Elaine Olch. This is my mom, who you have seen me in her kitchen. I have gone live in my mom's kitchen a lot of times when I'm visiting her in Michigan, but she's actually visiting me in North Carolina here in Asheville, and I said, would you be my special guest? This is not one of Mom's original recipes. If you have been following me, you have known Elaine's cabbage burgers, and I hope you've made them because they are delicious, and that is Mom's original recipe. Today's recipe is something that I made for the family, and Mom did get to try out, and she can vouch that it is delicious. And here's what we're doing for you. I like to teach practical living, practical meals that I can help individuals and families up-level their nutrients so that they are, number one, a little less guilt when eating all these amazing foods, but number two, they're gonna start feeling better, living better, being leaner by living a regular lifestyle. So that is my mission, and we're gonna be talking about Italiano. I wore my favorite Italian shirt for you today because we're going Italian on you again. And I think Italian food and Mexican food are probably my two favorites. And I love lasagna. Yes? And I know it's very common. People will be like, oh, substitute the zucchini for the noodles. Bam. Well, I got a special treat for you today. We're not using zucchini, and I'm actually implementing a few extra things in this lasagna recipe that are going to up-level that nutrient load for you and your family. Stay tuned. So first, you're gonna set your oven to 375. Then I'm gonna put my mom to work over here. That's kind of fun. Here we go, 375. Get that preheating. Lasagnas sometimes overflow. So I got a big old cookie sheet with a lip. I am putting underneath, like on the middle rack here, that I'll be setting my lasagna actually on. So I'm putting that in my oven. It might pop or something when it gets hot or something, but that is going to help catch any overflow. So do get some sort of pan in your oven. We're going to start with cheese. Isn't cheese one of the most amazing parts of lasagna because it's just layers and layers of varieties of cheese? We are going to be using the ricotta. I know that my husband, when he would make his, when we first started dating, he was using bechamel sauce. So I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you layer in your lasagna? Do you use ricotta? Have you swapped to something like cottage cheese? Because people do it. Or have you, like my husband, made a homemade bechamel? Because it's delicious. But, you know, I'm kind of a traditionalist, and this is how my mom would make lasagna when I remember it as a child, was using ricotta cheese. And I do choose to use whole milk ricotta cheese. This one comes from Aldi's, if you can see that without the light bothering it. That one came from Aldi's. It's whole milk. Go ahead and dump that one in there, Mom. I'll get a little spatula for us to make sure we don't even need a spatula. It just fell out. But this is good for mixing. And we're not done. Part of the amazing part of Italian food is just all these flavors can mesh together. And if you're not familiar with rosso pesto, we say, I'm not an Italian, but rosso pesto, please, any of my Italian friends, hook me up there. That is sun-dried tomato pesto. It's phenomenal. So if you have not tried it yet, you're gonna thank me later. So even give that a little test, Mom. Oh, so good.
Really good.
So this one I get at Aldi's. Again, if you don't have an Aldi's nearby you, so this is sun-dried tomato, basil, and Italian cheese, all in this little jar. And I might have to get you a little knife for that. You can get that out of there. And I'm sure most stores would have a variety of this. You might check Walmart if you only have that kind of store to shop at near you. Whole Foods, anything like that. Anywhere you shop would likely have this version. And if not, you might have to get really creative. Get some sun-dried tomatoes, get some basil and some probably Parmesan, and start pureeing that up until you reach a perfect, delicious blend as well. But I think most of these jars are found in most stores. Okay, we'll go ahead and start mixing that together. Now this sun-dried tomato is very salty already. Did you taste that salty backing? So we're not gonna salt this cheese. It's gonna be salty enough just with what we've added here. I'll clean up our workspace real quick and I'll get to chopping. You know, here in KJ's Kitchen, we like to infuse and boost the nutrients whenever we can. And what we're gonna be doing is putting in 3 cups of spinach. Now this is just fresh spinach, organic. I think I've promoted this already. Walmart sells this giant 1 pound box for like $3.89, guys. And it is organic. And then they sell the small ones for like $2. You'd have to buy 3 of the small ones to equal this. That'd be $6. Why would I do that? I'm gonna buy this giant one. 3 cups. How do you measure spinach? Well, here's a cup. Take a handful. And it's a loose handful, so that might be a cup and a half because that was a rather large handful. So that was a cup and a half. There's a cup. I'm gonna do another half. That's about 3 cups. If you're really into measuring, you can, because I did. And those 3 handfuls were 3 cups when you press them into an actual cup. And then when you chop it, and we want to chop this super fine, you're going to chop it, and when I put it back into the cup to see what it was 2 full cups, finely chopped. So if that's the better way you like to measure, you can go for it. If you have a cooking scale, and here we go, I'm gonna go really skinny with this. If you have a cooking scale, it's about 5 ounces of fresh, organic, chopped spinach. So I'm going really skinny in one direction. You guys have watched me chop spinach before. Even in my salads, when I'm doing my own salads for spinach, I do like them really chopped. I don't want big old leaves to have to tackle and get the dressing on my face or anything like that. I like to keep it clean. So, tell me in the comment fields, do you do vegetarian lasagna or do you like to add the animal? Like, tell me, and some people do, you know, beef, some people use pork, some people probably even use ground turkey these days. So I would love to hear when you're making your lasagna at home the way you love it, not the way that you think you should because you're trying to diet or whatever. What do you prefer? Do you like a meaty lasagna or a vegetarian? Because this one's not vegetarian, but it is tons of veggies, okay? The more green, the more lean is my motto. Woo! Okay, here we go. That ends up being about 2 cups. So here's my cup. Oh. And here's my cup. That ends up being 2 cups of spinach. We're putting right into the cheesy mix. So what's that gonna do? When you actually cook it, it's gonna, because they're small pieces, it's gonna kind of wilt away and be itty bitty pieces. So if you do have picky eaters, it might resemble basil or herb. It's not gonna be like layers and layers of green. So again, I like to kind of hide things. I'm just gonna scrape I don't wanna cut you, so I'm just gonna slow you down when I scrape that off so we can use this knife again. There we go. And talk about why we're gonna up level the noodle. I could preach it till I pass out. The more gluten you eat, the rougher you're doing on your colon, the more it will cut through and you get a leaky gut, IBS, any of these other irritable things. You start getting some rashes on your skin, who knows? People would blame it on age, but I'm gonna blame it on gluten. So yes, there are gluten-free noodles, but that's still very refined. So to cut away not only any refinement, and you know, it's not a natural whole food, even things like, we love lentil pasta, don't get me wrong, but that's still high in carbohydrate, although high in protein, so it's still good. If you're gonna choose a noodle, go with lentil lasagna noodles. Yes, they exist. But we're actually going to use the aubergine. Yes, do I say that nicely? The aubergine. Now that is not an Italian word. I had to ask Alexa about that one. But it is fantastic, and if you are familiar with a lot of Italian menus, yeah, you can set that aside for now. If you're familiar,
I'm not sure about that.
Oh, she was listening. If you're familiar with a lot of Italian menus, one of my favorite dishes is the eggplant parmesan. Now, This is not eggplant parmesan we're making, but if you love the eggplant parm, the reasons I would, it's still that cheesy, saucy, amazing goodness. And I'm going to actually cut this in rounds after I skin it. Yes, I'm gonna skin it. And while I'm skinning, I'm gonna get my mom to work too at grating cheese. So Mom, I'm gonna have you go into that cupboard and get a white bowl and you can grate directly into it. And I'm gonna start skinning this puppy because we don't need the skins. Here we go. There we go. And you know in my kitchen, we do everything in real time. So you're either cooking with me or watching me while I do it because we aren't gonna be, you know, doing the voila to you. We're gonna cook in real time. I like real life authenticity. So I skin it to avoid the coloration. So if you are sneaking this in for a child or children or the family, hey, even a husband. Here, I'll help you here. Now, Mom, I'm putting her to work at getting my mozzarella grated. And we are using, this entire thing was 2 pounds and a quarter of that. We are using 8 ounces of real mozzarella. I wouldn't say the fresh. It's not that bally, liquidy one. And we're grating it ourselves because the pre-grated cheeses have a lot of weird modified starches in it, a lot of things you don't need to be putting in your body that aren't cheese. So you save money and you get a cleaner food if you just use cheese. So she's using 8 ounces of mozzarella. She's grating it up. And I've almost got these puppies unskinned. So back to why I unskin these. Some people would eat the skin of these and that's totally fine. Go for it. But with kids or even an adult that might be picky who doesn't want to be like, what's that weird black purple thing happening in my lasagna right now? This would resemble much more of a noodle than the black rind around it. So I do get rid of all that. Again, that would be your choice. And we're gonna thin slice this. Let me show you how thin. That one was a little thick. And it's okay if they get thick. You're still gonna use them, but your goal would be potato thin. I don't know. If I had a big enough mandolin, I might just mandolin this, but I don't know about your kitchen. I'm just gonna use a knife and get it nice and skinny. Mom, is that like a 1/4 inch or not?
Just
not
less
even
than a 1/4 inch.
Less than a 1/4 inch. She's really good. She sews. She knows inches. She's really good at sewing too. We're gonna be working on some sewing projects this week while the kids are off school and grandma's in town. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna get all these done. And I'm cutting this big puppy up. If there are any leftovers, you know, we'll definitely find a good way to either saute them or drop them in the sauce and cook them up on the side in a dish even. It's not a big deal. So get the entire thing cut. If you have a small to medium eggplant, you would get 2 of them. Yes. Here we go. Lots of cutting. All right, how many Italianos am I having join me today? So a lot of this arty vegetable, like you're seeing, I'm doing the aubergine. We put the spinach into the actual ricotta blend. This is not a vegetarian lasagna, but you could easily make it vegetarian if you are vegetarian. Now, if you saw my segment, I would say it was maybe a month or so ago. I did an Italian segment where I made homemade sugo, the Italian like homemade sauce, and I had my very good friend Pamela Pistor on with me when we did that segment. That's actually the sauce I'm using today. And my sauce has, okay, we're done with that one? Awesome.
The other cheese?
We'll do the other cheese, yeah. My sauce has a ground pork sausage, and it's not Italian sausage, so it's not spicy, but it is just good traditional ground pork sausage. And that's what I'm using in this dish because I got some good meat eaters in my house. And so you will decide what works best for you and your family, but I do suggest using a good sauce. It's gonna make or break this lasagna. So if you're not making your own homemade, make sure it's a very good, we'll still use this side, a very good quality. So now my mom's grating up some Parmesan. Again, we're choosing the hard block of Parmesan. This one is from Walmart, or I do think that's from Walmart. Oh, tough to know. Sometimes Aldi's and Walmart I'm not sure where I got it. I also shop at Trader Joe's a lot, but they're all fantastic stores. I kind of laugh when people are like, I will not shop at Walmart because it's corporate monster. Well, it still does employ a lot of human beings and really help feed their family. So, including one of those is my sister. She's a manager at Walmart out in Michigan. So, I'm not ashamed to go into Walmart to help my family make more affordable choices for the organic produce that we're gonna buy. And I know that the corporation might seem like a monster, but it does, help support even my family's family. So I'm not really big on those things. I'm not one for logos and labels to say ooh or new. And so a lot of people, that's really the only grocery shopping they have locally that's most affordable. Aside from a couple mom and pops that really could do whatever they want with their pricing. So that was my spiel on the Walmarterism. Is that a thing? That's my thing, guys. All right, we got all this prepped. This mom was doing, I don't know if I said, was 4 ounces of Parmesan, because Parmesan adds that salty goodness as well. And we're going to get busy working. And you're almost done with that one? Mm-hmm. Okay. I will even put, that one's done. We'll put this one over here, sharing up the space. All right, we're gonna start at the base of the pan, at the bottom, with the sauce. So you're either gonna use your meat sauce or your vegetarian sauce. Now I made up a big old pot of my homemade sugo this morning. You can see this lovely, and like I said, we use the ground pork sausage, really yummy and meaty. And I'm gonna put that down on the bottom. It's about 1.5 cups per layer, and depending on, making your own or buying a really good one, if you do have a favorite one you buy, hopefully you're reading the labels and it's not pumped with sugar. Definitely prefer to be organic, especially when dealing with tomatoes. But I did measure this when I created the recipe. It is 1.5 cups per layer, minus the top layer was about 1 cup. So I do say it's about 4 cups of sauce to get this whole delicious lasagna going. I take the big daddies first, the big circles, and I'm literally laying them right out, side by side. If there's a super skinny part, I slightly let it get layered on to the other one next to it, because I can tell it's super thin. Here we go. And as you kind of are filling in the gaps, you can decide what size to grab, because you might be like, oh, I actually don't need a big one. I actually need a half a one right here, and that's fine. So we're going with sauce, eggplant. Next is the ricotta mixture, and it's the layering. Now I'm using half of this mixture on that first layer. So now you don't even have to guess. You're not even like, oh, how much am I using? Half. That's the answer. Half. Okay. So I'm going to smear up this. All right. And Mom tried this out last night, right? And she's not really done much with eggplant when she's in her kitchen, because she's never really loved it just plainly grilled. And her husband, my dad, Tony, he doesn't like eggplant. And when he ate this last night, he was rather impressed. He's not unhappy to be eating this again. And my husband also was like, yeah, really good. So it's always a win when I can make up a new recipe and it's a hit from everyone. There we go, smearing a little bit. You want that a nice even smear. And I might take a little bit more, because I don't want to leave some of these empty, because that layer is important, especially when you cut into it and you see that really pretty orangey green layer, very colorful and awesome. We're going to cut that into the side. And now we're going back to the sauce. So I'm going to pop in another 1.5 cups of your sauce, and this is just layering. Now it's not just repeat, because we're going to switch up the layering really soon. If you make lasagnas at home already, you get it. You want to end with the noodle on top, smearing in 1.5 cups of the sauce. Now here's a little trick, and I love to hear your tricks too. Please share your tips and tricks with me. There we go. I take a moment right in the middle because the Parmesan is a salty front too, and that's gonna be right at the top. So right in the middle of my lasagna, I just take a quick minute, take my pink Himalayan sea salt, and I give her a nice little spread around of salt in the middle of it. So when you're taking that bite, it's not all salty top. It's got salt throughout. Pretty awesome. Now we're gonna go with eggplant again. That was, how many layers are we?
That's
One.
the second layer of eggplant.
Second layer of eggplant. Good thing I got her here. Okay, here we go. And again, that was a big, big one. These are beautiful, big old slices of eggplant. I'm actually gonna cut that guy in half to fill in the gaps. And I got another gap over here to fill in. It's not anything particular that if you have to have small spaces in between, no big deal. Don't freak out. You could fill in a few if you want. Last round of the ricotta is, boop, it's a nice old blop. There we go, and we do scrape up that bowl. All right, get him smearing. All right, there we go. Got a lot of support here. I got Grandpa upstairs hanging out with the kids to keep them busy because we're on summer break already. I was like, oh boy, Dad's not home. What are we gonna do with those kids? So I can hear them upstairs. I don't know if you're picking that up on the camera, but they are having a good time. Probably jumping on the bed upstairs. We are almost done. So it does take a village. If you got children and you don't have help, my heart goes out to you. But it's amazing when you do get the help, right? So we say thank you, Grandpa, right here on camera in case he gets a chance to watch this later. We thank him for being a part of today's segment and taking the kids. Here we go. Done and beautiful. All right. We have one more round of... Nope, this is where I told you it switches. Good thing I hesitate. So we did sauce, eggplant, ricotta, sauce, eggplant, ricotta. We don't go sauce. Now we need that top layer of what would be the noodle, and we're gonna go eggplant one more round. Here we go. And this was a perfect size eggplant. I am running low on my slices, and we are filling it in, and we're gonna be really good with hitting it because these littles are gonna fill in really nicely. And boop, boop. That right there is the top layer of the noodle. Now we're gonna go back to sauce. That's the layer. In the recipes, if you're subscribing, I will have that listed very clearly in the recipe. And this last round of sauce is just a thin layer. It's not as thick, so I say it's about a cup on top, cup and a half on each of the other layers. There we go. And here's the thing, if you've ever cooked with the aubergine or the eggplant, whatever you call it, what do you call it? A lot of times you would salt them and leave them out on the counter, maybe on paper towels, and let them get less juicy, or I don't know what, you dehydrate them a little or something. But with this, you don't have to. I did put the pan in there to catch any of the juices that overflow, but mine didn't even start leaking over yesterday because I didn't prep the pan until like
2 minutes.
Yeah, a couple minutes before we were pulling it out. So had I been keeping an eye, maybe I would just pull it out in time, but it wasn't even much. It was like 2 drips that fell onto the bottom of my oven. There we go. So that was a nice thin layer. Nothing huge and saucy. If you can check that out, I'll show you. There you go. Little thin layer there. You see all those layers? So good. Now we're going to start with the mozzarella. I'll let Mom do the honors since she did all the awesome honors of grating it.
All on there?
Did you do only the 1/2?
Yep. Yeah.
Where'd the other half go? Okay, yes. All of it. So it's like, wait, I don't know how much. Yes. So we're gonna go with full 8 ounces. That's how much she grated. And it's nice and thick. Think like a pizza. Get that all like evenly distributed. And now thinking of like a pizza, isn't Italian food very similar to Mexican? You have your same main basic ingredients, but you keep recreating it in different ways. Like you're gonna have the same flavors in a baked ziti as you would pizza or lasagna. You're just changing up the form of noodle or carb that you're using. Is it gonna be a flat and long? Is it gonna be tubular? Is it gonna be dough? But you still keep adding the cheese and the tomato. And then the same as Mexican, you're like a taco, a burrito, an enchilada, it's got that same flavor profile. That's why it's so easy to recreate all these different meals. So we got that layer of mozzarella, and now we'll go with the layer of Parmesan. And the Parmesan is so salty goodness. I can't say enough about how much I love Parmesan cheese. I like it on my salads. It's great even when you're making something cheesy like grilled cheese or whatnot. There we go. Is that cheesy, amazing goodness? It's heavy. You will be feeding a very hungry family very well with this dish. You're gonna pop her in the oven on the middle rack. Whoop, here we go. And I don't have my oven mitt. That would maybe be useful to pull her out a little. Help myself out. There we go. Middle of center of the oven. Middle rack for 45 minutes. So set your timer, 45. Here's where you can pour your favorite glass of Chianti or Sangiovese and enjoy yourself a nice glass of wine and hang out with your family while you wait for dinner to arrive. And I will show you firsthand what that looks like. I'd have prepped my forks here. Mom and I are going to taste test what this amazing lasagna tastes like. So it's so cheesy goodness. All those delicious layers. Eggplant, spinach. The sauce had peppers, onions, tomato. It is full of veggies, although not vegetarian. Infusing, getting rid of the gluten. We'll get a little good cut on here for you, Mom. Turn that over. There we go. Okay, let's try this thing out.
Delicious.
So good. I don't want to stop eating, but I will to say my farewells. I'm so excited how delicious this tastes, because I have a lot of people in my health community who are like, I don't like zucchini. What do I do? So my idea of substituting eggplant for zucchini, which was an idea, really turned out amazing. And it really reminds me of an eggplant parmesan, but you're not breading eggplant, frying it, shoving the tomato and cheese all over it. So you get the best of both worlds. You got your lasagna, and it really reminds you of that eggplant parm taste. So good, such a better way to avoid all the high carbs that do come in a regular lasagna. And thank you for tuning in with us today. Thank you, Mom, for being my sidekick and helper. And if you love what you see here, you know how to share the love with me. If you know someone who this recipe could benefit, you can tag them in the comment fields. Share this to your wall. There might be a lot of people seeking better, healthier recipes without changing their entire lifestyle. And that's what I'm here to bring you in KJ's Kitchen every Wednesday at noon on Facebook. If you are not subscribed to my newsletter, I will have an active link in the comment fields that you can click, and you will get a weekly email to your inbox. If you've already subscribed, you'll be getting the email soon enough. And I thank you again for being here, and you have an amazing, amazing Wellness Wednesday. Take care, and if you try this recipe, let me know how much you love it. All right, have a good one.